Please come.
Good morning, sir.
Okay. Please take your seat.
Thank you, sir.
Abhishek, tell us about yourself.
Sir, I am Abhishek Yadav. I am from Varanasi, and I have done my B.Tech and M.Tech from IIT BHU Varanasi in Civil Engineering Department. And I have a work experience in different organizations like Indian Oil, ISRO, and currently I am working in DRDO. I like to play cricket and badminton in my free time.
Okay, very good. Now you tell us, since Varanasi is famous for Ganga and Namami Gange project has come from there. Okay, so tell us what are the components of Namami Gange project?
Sir, Namami Gange was started in 2015, and
tell us what are the components.
Sir, mainly the objective is to clean the Ganga and banks of Ganga river in different cities like Kanpur and Varanasi.
No, that's okay, but in what manner? Give me engineering involved in the...
Sir, the discharge of industry water is a main factor to contribute and pollute the Ganga water. So that has to be stopped, and so the budget aspects I don't know exactly.
So only industrial waste is
industrial waste, and STPs are also established in different cities like Varanasi. There are 3 to 4 STPs being established.
Okay.
And the ghats are also cleaned
improved.
Up like that.
Okay. Other than this, if you have to design a program as civil engineer to clean Ganga, what will you do?
So mainly the effluents only contribute to the pollution, and so I don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. People say Sagarmala. What is Sagarmala?
So Sagarmala is basically strengthening the coastal areas ports because nowadays the cost of transferring the goods from internal area to the ports is very high and also not very good. So the project is basically strengthening the port accessibility and along the coastal areas basically.
Okay. And can you give us any example of multimodal project?
In India only.
In India.
So sorry, sir, I can't think of that. Multimodal means.
That's what I'm asking. What does it mean? Okay. ठीक है.
Okay. So Abhishek.
Yes.
You tell me what are different water quality parameters?
So there are 2 types of quality parameters, mainly physical and chemical. In physical, there are different parameters like turbidity, odor, and dissolved solids, like that. And chemical parameters are BOD, that is biochemical oxygen demand, COD, and like that.
Okay. So what is the difference between BOD and COD?
Biochemical oxygen demand is the oxygen equivalent required to degrade the biodegradable matters only, and in chemical oxygen demand, that is basically for non-biodegradable waste also. Means adding both the biodegradable and non-biodegradable.
Okay. What is the importance of COD by BOD ratio in design?
So the COD by BOD ratio determines that how much oxygen is needed and how much biodegradable waste is present. Suppose BOD by COD's ratio is very less, so the waste is very much toxic as compared to when BOD by COD ratio is very much high. That means the waste is biodegradable only and it can be treated easily.
Do you know what is Streeter-Phelps equation?
Yes, sir.
Can you write a Streeter-Phelps equation?
Sir, I don't recall exactly, but I know.
There are different zones of purification when you discharge the sewage into the river. What are those different zones?
Sir, there are mainly 4 zones. That is, first is a zone of decomposition, and a zone of second zone is a zone of First is zone of degradation, second is zone of active decomposition, third is zone of recovery, and fourth is zone of clear water. After that, the river purifies.
Okay. What is difference between activated sludge process and trickling filter?
Sir, in activated sludge process, we remix the sludge produced after the second degree purification, and in trickling filter, all the processes happen on the surface of the particles present in trickling filter itself. So all the 1 degree, 2 degree process will be happening on the surface of particles present in trickling filter.
Okay. What are the different methods of structural analysis?
Sir, mainly there are two methods, that is a force method of analysis and displacement method of analysis. So in force method, there are different methods like Castigliano method and energy theorem, like that. And in displacement method, we have a slope deflection method, moment distribution method, and there are 3-4 methods.
Okay. State Mueller-Breslow principle.
So Mueller-Breslow principle is mainly used for drawing influence line diagrams for different force functions. And suppose we are drawing for shear force or moment, we will produce a unit deformation in the direction of the force function which we have to draw the ILD for.
Okay. You take the paper. You draw a cantilever beam AB, fixed at A and free at B. Span is L.
Yes.
Right. You draw ILD for RA and MA.
So this is for ILD for RA. This is ILD for MA.
Okay. You draw a fixed beam.
Both sides fixed.
Both sides fixed. Span L, subjected to UDL W per meter throughout.
Yes.
Right. You draw the elastic BMD, plastic BMD, and also the central deflection.
Elastic bending moment diagram.
Yes.
So the elastic BMD will be like this.
Okay.
And so when it goes in plastic stage, then the hinges will be formed here and here.
That's fine, but can you draw the plastic BMD? It's fine that hinges, 3 hinges will be formed, 2 at the ends, 1 at the center, but can you draw the plastic BMD?
So I think the moment will be 0 at ends.
You are not sure.
I'm not sure, but
Okay, what will be the central deflection of this beam?
central deflection will be, sir, 5WL to the power 4 by 384 EI.
That is for simply supported or this case?
Okay, sorry, sir. It will be 1/5 of that.
1/5, no?
Yes.
Okay. Suppose you have to go for earthquake resistant design
Yes.
and you have to find the design base here,
Yes, sir.
VB.
Yes.
Can you write the value of VB?
Yes, sir. It is multiplication of a seismic weight into.
Fine. This is by
Coefficient H.
equivalent load method.
Yes.
But if you have to find through response spectra method,
Yes.
then can you find the value of VB?
So sorry, sir. I have not read that response spectrum.
Response spectra. Okay, my last question.
Yes.
What is difference between a static and dynamic liquefaction of soil?
So dynamic liquefaction, I know it is when the soil is subjected to dynamic loading, the effective stress reduces to 0, and then the strength of soil also reduces to 0. Then liquefaction happens. And so static liquefaction, I'm not sure about that.
Okay. How we measure discharge from any well?
A discharge from well, so there are a method of pumping out method. That is, we construct different wells adjacent to the well which we have to determine the discharge, and then we measure the heads and draw down.
Do you know the formula?
Yes, sir.
Please write down.
So this is for means open aquifer case.
What it is?
So
What
K
you
is,
written?
K is equal to Q ln R2 by R1 divided by pi into H2 square minus H1 square.
Okay.
Q is the discharge which we have to measure.
Okay, good. How we determine specific yield from any well? How we define it, first of all?
Specific head.
Yield.
Specific yield. Sir, specific yield is the discharge with respect to unit drawdown, I think. I'm not fully sure. But it is discharge with respect to unit drawdown.
Okay. And how we determine specific discharge?
Sir, I'm not sure. I'm confused.
Okay. How we define specific capacity of the well?
Specific capacity is it is the multiplication of K into A into S. That is storativity S.
How porosity, specific yield, and specific retention are correlated?
Sir, porosity is the sum of specific retention and storativity both.
What? Come again?
Porosity is the sum of specific retention and specific yield. Sorry, specific yield and specific retention.
Specific yield and specific
Yes, sir.
retention. Okay. Okay. How many methods do you know for flood routing?
There are two types of methods mainly: hydrologic routing and hydraulic routing.
Good.
And in hydrologic routings, we use continuity equations mainly, and in hydraulic routings, we use continuity and energy equations both.
Can you write the energy equation?
So energy equation, I don't remember.
Okay. What are the different methods for determining the flood?
So to determine the flood, we use flood frequency studies, in which we determine probability of occurrence of any measured flood, and so this only method I know.
What about Gumbel's method?
Yes, sir, Gumbel's method and log Pearson type 3 method also is there.
How we determine flood magnitude from Gumbel's method?
In Gumbel's method, we mainly use two types of variates. That is, means X. X is suppose X is any flood frequency probability. So X is equal to some mean plus K into sigma. So in that first we will determine those two variates, and then we will calculate the required flood frequency.
Okay, good.
Abhishek,
Yes.
what is the difference between bending moment and moment of resistance?
So bending moment is the moment which is acting due to the loads on a structure,
Okay.
and the moment of resistance is the moment of bending moment which the structure can provide to resist that bending moment.
So tell me on what factor moment of resistance depends.
Sir, moment of resistance mainly depends on the strength of material used, suppose of steel and concrete.
Right. That is one part. Then
Yes, sir. And the positioning also, we can say the positioning of reinforcement bars and how much reinforcement bars are used.
as you mean to say size of the member, cross section,
Yes,
right?
the cross section of the member.
Okay. What is section modulus?
Section modulus is the moment of area with respect to the plastic moment of axis. Sorry, sir. May I correct that?
Yes, yes.
Sir, it is basically the moment of area, that is I by R, I by Y, we can say.
Okay, okay. Now, in bending theory,
Yes.
right, the standard formula I'm talking about,
Yes.
that M by I is equal to E by R is equal to some stress by sigma by Y, suppose.
Yes.
Can you tell me what are the different factors that we consider while deriving that relations?
So in that, the first factor which we consider, that plane section before bending and after bending remains same, and
Okay,
the
so what is the
strain,
meaning of this?
that's no bulging of the section happens when bending happens.
Okay, now if I give you two examples, like
Yes.
suppose I have a cantilever, right?
Yes.
Over that cantilever, I have applied a moment.
Yes.
This is the first condition. Second condition, over the same beam, I am going to apply a point load at the free end,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So out of these two loading diagram, which one is going to follow this assumption?
So in practical situation, we are
Yes,
talking
I'm
about.
talking about that. That is assumption, na?
Yes, sir.
The thing that you have said, that is the assumption.
Yes.
So in which of the loading, in which of the case that
Sir,
assumption is valid?
Sir, I think in the case of applying the moment, it will more follow the what we have assumed.
So another question is that, like, if I take the second example, like cantilever with point load, right?
Yes.
So in that case, if I have to find bending stress or maximum bending stress,
Yes.
so we are going to use the same formula.
Sir, if you take that assumption, that then we use the same formula for determining the stresses.
But that loading diagram is not as specifying that formula. No? While deriving that formula, we have not considered that loading diagram. Then why we are using that same formula in this case?
So that I think only because of assumption, and other way I don't know. Is what we use for practical things.
Okay. What is the purpose of composite? Why we make composite?
So composites are mainly used first is to reduce the cost and to use the materials efficiently. Suppose near to the neutral axis we don't have much bending moment, so we can use the other material than steel to save the cost and to save the material. Like that.
Right. What do you mean by damper?
Damper is means we use for dampening the effect of vibrations which are coming on the structures.
Okay. So suppose if I have 3 different systems, right?
Yes.
One is under damped system, second is over damped system, third is critically damped system.
Yes.
Now first tell me theoretically,
yes,
out of these 3, which should be suitable to damp the vibration in shortest, quickest possible time. Theoretically I'm talking about.
Sir, in quickest possible time, we should use over-damped system.
Over-damped. Okay. And in actual cases, if you talk about any structural member, which damping you use? Under-damped, over-damped?
So generally, for practical purposes, we use under-damped systems.
Why?
Because the damping effect is very slow and more comfortable to the structures and human beings present. Whereas in over-damped system, the damping will be very fast and they will feel the vibrations very fast. And damage can also be happened.
Okay, fine.
Okay, Abhishek, I think we'll close your interview. We'll call you for the feedback, right? Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Please keep it here. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Please take your seat.
Thank you, sir.
अभिषेक, आपको 2 ही दिन बचे हैं.
Yes, sir.
ठीक है. इसके पहले कभी सिविल सर्विस इंटरव्यू दिया?
इंजीनियरिंग सर्विस का दिया सर 2019 में.
कितना में? 2019 में कितना मिला था?
105.
105.
Yes.
आपका सिलेक्शन बहुत अच्छा आपने लिखा है रिकमेंडेड.
हाँ सर. BRO मिला था.
तो आप नहीं गए?
नहीं सर.
ओके, ठीक है. तो मोर और लेस और पिछला मॉक में कितना मिला था आपका?
118. अभी
118.
2-3 दिन पहले आया था.
2-3 दिन पहले ही आए थे. ओके. सो रफली आप 105 जो वहाँ मिला था और 118
Yes.
इसके बीच में आप हैं, मतलब 112-13 के आसपास के हैं, राइट? तो हमने आज आपको 115 दिया है क्योंकि आपका मतलब 2 ही दिन बाद है,
Yes.
राइट? लेकिन जैसे आप ITBHU से स्ट्रक्चरल इंजीनियर हैं और
Yes.
नमामि गंगे के बारे में ऑब्वियस क्वेश्चन है,
Yes.
ठीक है. सिविल इंजीनियर से तो और भी जरूरी होता
Yes.
है, बल्कि उसमें STP और बाकी सब क्वेश्चंस भी आ जाते हैं, TP वगैरह.
Yes.
तो इसको थोड़ा तैयार कर लीजिए सारे
Yes.
मिनिस्ट्रीज का,
Yes.
राइट? कि सारी मिनिस्ट्री के जो आप चॉइस दिए हैं सर्विस का,
Yes.
उसके मेजर प्रोग्राम या मेजर इनिशिएटिव्स क्या हैं, आप याद रखिए.
ठीक है सर.
आपने चॉइस दिया है सर्विस
हाँ.
का, तो उनका एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव मिनिस्ट्री जो भी है उसमें
Yes.
क्या क्या कार्यक्रम होते हैं इसका अंदाजा कर लीजिए.
Yes.
और बाकी टेक्निकल चीज में आपको बता रहे
टेक्निकल ठीक है. आपने ऑलमोस्ट सारे आंसर्स किए, राइट?
Yes.
मैं बोलूंगा कि कुछ क्वेश्चंस आप स्किप भी कर सकते हो इफ यू डोंट नो, लाइक अगर गेस कर रहे हो 2 आंसर्स आपने गलत ही कर दिए. तो अगर आपको ऐसा लग रहा है कि 50-50 है समथिंग ऐसा कुछ है, तो फिर बेटर है कि आप स्किप कर दो, क्योंकि सारे क्वेश्चंस के आंसर करने जरूरी थोड़ी है,
हाँ.
राइट?
Yes.
ओके.
Okay, so Abhishek, see some codal provisions related to earthquake
Yes.
that will help you.
Yes.
And additionally, water and environment, वहाँ भी आपको काम करना है.
Yes.
I asked you some questions.
Yes.
So there also you have to work. And thirdly, you are working with DRDO.
Yes.
So it is possible that they can ask some questions regarding your work, what you are doing there.
Yes.
So also prepare for that. And I think
और DRDO के जो कुछ स्पेशल प्रोग्राम्स वगैरह
प्रोग्राम्स वगैरह हैं उसको देख
वो देख लीजिए हाइड्रोलॉजी थोड़ा सा रिवाइज कर लीजिए
रिवाइज कर लीजिए है ना.
ठीक है. All the best.
Wish you all the best.
Thank you. Thanks.